and welcome to the Giraffe Social Media Podcast. It's what social media managers are talking about. I'm Caitlin McKenzie, and today I'm joined by some lovely members of the Giraffe team. We've got social media manager Nicole.
Hello.
And social media manager Laura.
Hi.
So first up, I'd like to apologise for the brief hiatus we've been on for the last couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I was a bit under the weather, non-COVID, don't worry, but unfortunately I wasn't able to record, and we've missed you all lots and lots, so we're really excited to be back. So in today's coffee break episode, we're going to be talking about social media at Christmas, so competitions, some things we've noticed in terms of organic content, and also, of course, the Christmas movies that we love and the Christmas ads that we can't ignore either. So before we get started, I have a question for you girls. Do you have an advent calendar yet? Laura, have you got one?
I do. I actually have two this year.
Okay.
And I've never had two before, so not normally that greedy. But I got one from my mum and my auntie. So I have one for the morning and one for the evening. And
Ooh.
it's perfect. I mean, I tend to eat it in the evening, but yeah. No, it's nice.
No, that's good.
I feel like it's not Christmas without an advent calendar.
I agree. How about Nicole? Have you got one?
I do not have one because my mum hasn't bought me one and I don't want to go buy one myself. I think the idea of someone buying it for you is nice. I could have bought myself one maybe, but I'm not the most festive person. So I didn't really think about it. And then everyone was sharing their advent calendars on the 1st. And I was like, oh, damn, I don't have one this year. But I can eat chocolate any other time.
That's
there's
true.
no excuse needed. So it's
Just
okay.
buy yourself a full-size bar every day.
There you go.
One of my friends jokes that she was doing an Amazon advent calendar and just getting a delivery every day.
I like that.
I do have one. I've got a Hotel Chocolat one. Fancy.
Very nice.
I thought I'd treat myself. But I do have to admit that it is not my first advent calendar of the year.
Oh.
I may have gotten overexcited. So I can't eat dairy. So Montezuma's was doing a really good one and Hotel Chocolat was doing a good one. So I was like, right, I'm going to get those. I'm going to do that morning evening thing you're doing, Laura. Then I was like, really like a bit of chocolate. And look, I'm just going to hold my hands up. I ate the whole advent calendar in a week, but I wouldn't have done that if I didn't have the backup. So it was a warm-up.
Yeah.
It's like a starter. It's a bit of an appetizer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting in the mood.
So what have you guys been thinking about, talking about, noticing this week? This is our coffee break, so it's our time to just sort of get into it. Nicole, what do you want to chat about?
Well, obviously it's the start of December, which means the start of Christmas giveaways. I think each year it's been getting crazier and crazier. And now if you're not doing some sort of Christmas giveaway on social media, what are you doing? I've been following all of the 12 days of Christmas that pretty much, all the accounts are doing. Fingers crossed I win something. Who knows? But I have my hopes up because I am entering at least 10 a day, I want to say at this point.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys do this, but here's a tip: have a designated competition friend to tag, because we just tag each other and there's no resent for it. We're just going to tag each other in every competition we see. Fingers crossed.
I love that.
That's a good
tactic.
Yeah. Because I definitely am that annoying person that I'm tagging, I've tagged them again. Oh, I hope they don't mind. I've tagged them again. But then usually the people you tag, sometimes they win something too. So that's a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Is there a particular one you've entered that you'd really want to win? Is there an amazing prize or anything?
Oh, the cash, whenever there's a cash prize, that always, piques my interest. But I've seen quite a few, quite a lot of skincare brands are doing some really cool ones, because I love when they collaborate with other brands and then there's this really cool giveaway prize from lots of different brands that you love. Those are my favorites for sure. I would love to know who's actually winning these things, because I feel you never see the winner. So but maybe it'll be me, guys.
Of course.
Hopes are up.
You touched on something there, haven't you? That does anyone win the giveaway? Have you all had that thought too? I think brands need to be really transparent with the winner. Like, but then again, I guess they get away because I don't think I've ever entered a giveaway and then gone and checked.
No. True.
No.
You'd like to think they're being, like, you know, honest and stuff.
Honest. I do see a lot on Twitter in particular from like ASOS and Oak Poly, more like fashion brands, and quite often then you'll see the winner. But generally on Instagram, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I just like flick through stories, or perhaps I don't follow the brand, that kind of thing, that I don't necessarily always see the winner. But on Twitter, I 9 times out of 10 do, and that always makes me feel better to know someone has actually won.
That's something I've noticed, like as a social media manager, like Twitter users come to collect, so they like check up. Like if I've ever run a Twitter competition for a client, the day after that competition closes, they're getting replies to the tweet like, have you picked, who is it me, like that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't think I've really entered anything recently. I just forget that it's a thing, but I need to get on it. The best ones that I think you see are the ones where like Nasty Gal and stuff, like pay your rent for a month or something, right? Or an amazing holiday after lockdown finishes. But I don't enter them, so I can't really be resentful that I haven't won them.
ASOS did one a couple of days ago, and I think that was like, I think the prize was like $5,000 or something. And as you can imagine, there was just so many entries, so many.
Did you guys see the Molly-Mae giveaway? Maybe it was last month. That was a huge deal, wasn't it?
That was so big. Yeah. I definitely entered that, and I was extremely sad that I didn't win.
But that was so big that it started generating like negative press as well. I don't know, like I saw like loads of people, it became like a meme almost, like guys posting about like if your girlfriend's entered the Molly-Mae giveaway and stuff, like all of that. It was very like intense, but hey, no publicity is bad no publicity is bad publicity, is it? So
that's what they say.
That is what they say. Haven't you want to talk about something on social media as well, Laura?
Yeah, so one thing I've noticed particularly recently is sort of organic social media content, the impressions and reach of organic social media content dropping a bit. And I think we find that sort of every year around Christmas, because the organic content is competing with paid content, which inevitably around Christmas, I mean, think of how many brands there are out there that are trying to compete for that paid space. They want their products, their services to be top of mind for their consumers. So I definitely think around this time of year, I don't know if you've noticed it as well, with some of your clients, like the organic content just isn't performing as well as it has done previously, definitely around this time of year.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that as well. And I think I've even noticed it to the point where I've noticed it on my personal social media and like the things that I do as like a hobby too. I think everything's sort of the lowest it kind of could be without you thinking, did I have my security settings limited? Like, can anyone see this? But yeah, I think I've noticed that too. And it's a shame, isn't it? Because it's really like putting the power in like a different place, isn't it? And maybe smaller companies or people aren't being able to reach people in the same way. But I guess maybe those companies are using giveaways instead.
Yeah, that is true.
Maybe.
I read something today actually that said on Facebook, generally only around 2%, and I know it's pretty similar for LinkedIn as well, only around 2% of your following will see your posts go out as it is. So with that statistic combined with more paid advertising on social, I'm sort of not surprised that that's the case. It does take a lot to compete.
Yeah, definitely. I think it makes you feel like you really have to like up your game, right? Actually, the more we talk about it, the more I think I have noticed it across clients, because I feel like, you know, we do our reporting every month and sort of I'm having to think of new strategies and ways to up engagement and reach across like everyone, which isn't usually the case. I'd like to think usually it goes well by itself, but yeah, I do think we're entering that sort of like bottleneck part of the year where it's like harder to get seen. Maybe this can just be a PSA for any social media managers listening. Like, you're doing great, sweetie. Like, it's a hard time.
Yeah, you're doing great.
I guess on the other side, though, like the paid ads, I don't know about you guys, but there's been some really interesting results there. And, you know, this is such a busy time of year. And there's a reason why there are so many ads out, because it is so crazy and there are so many people on social media.
Yeah, so I've even noticed like my own behaviors around this time of year, like the amount of ads I've clicked on and purchased from is just so much more than normal. I mean, obviously I know like we all do know sort of the process and the targeting and all of that, all the ins and outs. But definitely I think particularly 2020, the shops have been closed over lockdown, like we haven't necessarily been able to go out and go shopping, so our consumer behaviors has been completely taken to online.
True.
And yeah, like you were saying, Nicole, sort of the opposite of organic results like decreasing has caused our paid results to increase, I guess, particularly around Black Friday. You know, everyone over lockdown number 2.
Who's counting anymore?
Who's counting? Like, how many lockdowns? Yeah, lockdown number 2. I think we've all been online. I mean, I definitely have been targeted with the right ads, because my bank account is not enjoying me right now.
That's so funny. I mean, you just made me think, like, where you talking about targeted by the right ads. I started being targeted by Pink Lady apples, and I just love that. I love that I'm their demographic, because absolutely, yes, I buy Pink Lady apples. If you'd like to contact me for a collaboration, I'm kidding.
No, please do.
But yeah, I was just like, wow, the algorithm's really finely tuned now. They've got me. This is the content I like to see.
It always makes me laugh when some people sort of see an ad and they go, oh, they're listening, you know, like I'm being targeted, and they get all funny about it. But I'm like, that ad though, and they're like, yeah, I do like that. Like, I would buy that product. So I'm thinking, in a way,
You're
is
welcome.
it such a bad thing?
Yeah.
Exactly. You're welcome. Exactly. Yeah.
I did have a really, like, before I started this job a couple of years ago, it was around Christmas time, I was talking about Boursin, the cheese, you know, the garlic cheese, best thing ever.
Sure.
I was talking about that, and literally within 12 hours, I would say, I saw an ad on Instagram for it, and I was so freaked out. I was like, this is the turning point. They are listening to me. Like, I've been targeted by a cheese, an actual cheese, after I spoke about it. And yeah, I was convinced then at that point, a couple of years ago, I was like, they are listening to me. But I can assure you, as social media managers, no one is listening to you.
Yeah.
It may be a really
listening.
huge coincidence, but it was definitely just a coincidence.
That's such a good point, isn't it? I swear that's like the elephant in the room, because I've had experiences like that too, where I've been talking about something so random and not something that I would engage with on social media at all. I remember once it was talking about a video game, like Roller Coaster Tycoon, you know, those sort of games, like Hospital Tycoon. I remember talking about that once, but I don't do anything gaming related on my social media. We were talking about these tycoon games, and it was on my lunch break, and then I remember looking at my phone when I got back to my desk, and the first thing I got served was an ad about this Hospital Tycoon game for your phone, and I was like, whoa. Yeah, it is I don't know. I think that it's a bit of a mystery, but I guess it must be a coincidence. But obviously we run these ads. Yeah. We don't get access to any of that kind of listening information, so therefore it doesn't exist. But I don't know. It's interesting. There's a conspiracy in there.
I mean, it's definitely... I mean, if there is some sort of listening technology, it wouldn't be us. It would be Facebook, right? Because we just say we want people interested in, I don't know, cheese. And then Facebook goes, I heard Laura talking about cheese. So, you know, if it is out there, which I actually think it is, then... I mean, I thought that was a thing. I thought it was like, they do listen. I'd accepted that in my world. Maybe I shouldn't have just taken that in so easily.
I think that might be a huge, like,
thing if they were to be loudly do. Yeah, because...
Yeah, true.
I mean, I don't want anyone listening to my conversations. Not that I have any bad conversations, but
No,
I
it's
don't
just
know.
that it feels like a bit of a basic right.
Yeah.
Like I should be able to have a conversation about Boursin cheese without someone listening to me about that. Surely that's within my human rights.
I think so. I mean, maybe not specified Boursin, but yeah. But it's like, I mean, I don't have an Alexa smart speaker because they freak me out. And I don't know. The technology obviously exists. Like Siri's always listening. Oh gosh, we're going down a rabbit hole.
We are.
But yeah, disclaimer: we don't know if that's what happens in the social media world. We hope it isn't, and we aren't involved. I think that's it. That's the tweet. So moving swiftly on. Have you guys seen any cool Christmas ads that you like, that you love? I have seen one that I really, really love. It's the new Coca-Cola one. I feel like Christmas ads aren't as much of a thing this year. I guess that's because businesses are really struggling and have different restrictions in terms of creating adverts and stuff over the year. I mean, most Christmas content gets agreed and created in like July, and July wasn't a great minute for the UK, well, the world. So, but regardless, Coca-Cola have made a really nice one, and basically the premise is this little girl saying bye to her dad as he like goes away to work, and he works in an oil rig, and she like has his like Santa letter, and he takes it, and it's in his lunchbox, and he's meant to post it, and he obviously forgets to post it, and then he sees the post boat like leaving, and he's like goes off in his little dinghy, and he's got his like 2 Santa letter that he has to deliver on behalf of his daughter, and I think he falls out of his boat or something, he misses it, so then he decides he's going to post that letter himself, as in walk to the North Pole. So it's this very dramatic like action scenes of him like wading through bush and through rivers and stuff, and he eventually makes it to Santa's house, and it's obviously manned by the Coca-Cola Santa, of course, because it's a Coca-Cola advert, and the Coca-Cola Santa gives him a lift home, and then he's really sad because the girl didn't get a present from Santa, and then he opens the letter, and all the girl wanted for Christmas was for her dad to come home, and so she gets it, and it's just emotion. It's really nice. I love to have a good blubber at a Christmas advert. It's just part of the year.
Yeah. No, I particularly like this year. I agree with you though. I don't think they've been as strong. No, I had some high hopes, and maybe my bar was set a little too high. But I really like the McDonald's one because there's just something, I really like the music.
Yeah, I really like it too. It's really cute. Is that the one with like the mom and the little boy with his like inner child?
Yes, yeah. So it's basically this like, this teenage boy, his mum's really, trying to get him to put the decks up like he has in previous years, and he's just really dismissive. No, doesn't want to do this, doesn't want to do that. Eventually he agrees to go on a car journey with her, and they stop at the McDonald's drive-thru, and they get the McDonald's, they eat their McDonald's. He's still not very chatty, still a bit, teenager-like, I guess. And then they get home, and just before the boy goes to bed, he gets out his bag of carrots and sets up like his mom. It's all very heartwarming, him and his mom, because she then realizes like he's warming up, and they put out the carrots for the reindeer. And it's really, really nice. It's just a lovely storyline, because I always think like particularly around Christmas time, like they're really like ads are really relatable. You kind of just relate to them in a sense. Yeah.
I always think of them as like almost like a thank you from a brand. Like, do you know what I mean? The public have obviously supported that brand all year round. I almost kind of feel like it's that brand's opportunity to do something nice for the people, and obviously in turn generate more sales for themselves. I think it's a good cycle, but some brands do it really well. Like I know John Lewis always has like gifts related to that advert. Like, do you remember the Moz the Monster?
Yeah,
it was the monster underneath the bed, and they became like best mates. But I bought my mum a Moz the Monster that year because it was just it was cute, but obviously great for the company, right? But yeah, do you have a favorite ad, Nicole, or anything like that?
Yeah, I have seen as we've discussed, I'm not overly festive, so I haven't seen too many Christmas adverts, but I do always look for the John Lewis one because I feel like that's the most famous Christmas ad that everyone waits for. And I thought it was really cute this year. They had basically the sort of theme of it is like sharing the love, and there's like a little heart that gets shared through different people, but they have different sections with different like styles of animation. And I think it says at the end that like obviously the reason they did that is because of, you know, the pandemic and people working from home, so they could like have as many people as they could working on it, which I thought was really nice. But I agree with you, Laura, there's always so much hype, and this year I haven't been blown away. I actually was expecting more corona related Christmas ads, but I feel like collectively all the brands decided to stay away from that. I guess makes sense, but I thought that was going to be quite a strong theme.
Yeah, maybe they just decided like we've had enough of that.
Yeah. I think everyone was like, no, we just don't want to talk about it, and I appreciate that.
Do you have a favorite Christmas ad of all time? I have one that like makes me really happy, and I would love to take a moment to tell you about it if you haven't already seen it.
Please do.
It was an Apple ad. I can't tell you what year, but it was based around Frankenstein, and like so Frankenstein lived up in the hills above this village and was like ostracized from the community and was sad and on his own, and then he gets this little package which he's sent off for, and it's these two little bulbs, and then he screws them into his neck, and it's a green and a red fairy light. So cute. And he like just like builds up the courage, walks down into the village, and they're all singing Christmas carols, and he starts singing and everyone's really frightened, and then he puts his lights on, and a little girl starts singing with him, and they all start singing with him, and it's all very lovely and welcoming and togetherness, and it's just great.
It's so lovely. Yeah, one of my all-time favorite Christmas ads was a few years ago, one of the Sainsbury's ones, where it sort of depicts back in World War One, where on Christmas Day, all the soldiers just came together, stopped the war, came together and played football. And it just, every time I think about it, it gives me goosebumps. It just really stood out. I think for so many people as well, it was just such a
like an emotional thing.
Yeah, like a really, really emotional thing. And just think
that's a great one.
I just think that's restored a small amount of faith in humanity. And I mean, I personally didn't know that happened before I saw that ad and found out it was real, and it's just really emotional.
Yeah, it is such a lovely thing. And if you're ever in a bad mood, I highly recommend going onto YouTube and watching Christmas advert compilations, because that is soul-soothing content. I mean, you're going to lose an hour of your life, but it's going to be a nice one. Okay, what about like movies? Are you guys into watching Christmas movies yet? I know people have like a lot of rules that you can't watch until the 1st of December, or maybe in Nicole's case, you don't watch them at all because you hate Christmas.
Rules are there to be broken, so those kind of Christmas rules, no. And I don't agree that decks shouldn't be put up before December 1st either. Just throwing it out there. Favorite Christmas movies for me, I have 3 top contenders.
Great.
One, Elf, absolute classic, hilarious, makes me laugh every single year, could watch it a million times over, of course. Second, Muppets Christmas Carol, how wholesome, so wholesome, so heartwarming, never get bored, ever.
Absolutely.
Tiny Tim, little bit emotional, it's a whole package.
It's wonderful. It's Christmas with puppets.
I'm throwing in a third, so sorry. Gavin and Stacey Christmas Special. Don't know if it's classed as a film.
Controversial.
But oh my gosh, when I found out a couple of weeks ago that it was no longer on Netflix, I mean, I was pretty fuming about that.
You don't need to send off for that box set.
I have since found out that it is airing on BBC One.
Oh, good news.
On Christmas Eve. So I will be watching it then. But yeah, 3 faves.
Love that. How about you, Nicole? Any contenders?
Oh God, I love Home Alone, but interestingly, I really like Home Alone 2. And I realize there's a thing with sequels that, you know, it's never as good as the first, but I love Home Alone 2. He goes to New York. It's very exciting. I'm a big fan. What else? What are the classics? Like Santa Claus, stuff like that. A lot of 90s ones, I think, for some reason.
Yeah, to be honest, I feel like even a bad Christmas movie is still a good Christmas movie. I mean, it's still a good movie in general, right? I love it. I love like even the trashy ones like the Hallmark Channel. I'll lose an afternoon to the Hallmark Channel with sort of Z-list celebrities like having their like 3-movie trilogy in a row. Gosh, I could sit here and list them. I just love them. I don't know why we don't get to watch them all year round, or why there isn't like another category like Easter films, which are just really heartwarming. Like, I don't want to have this just once a year. Anyway, I digress. My favorite, 100% Muppets Christmas Carol. It's just everything you could want and more.
It is.
I just love it. But interestingly, I haven't seen any other Muppets films and don't feel inclined to, but Muppets Christmas Carol I will watch 2 to 3 times in December.
Yeah.
And on Christmas Eve too. It's a good Christmas Eve movie.
Yeah.
Another one I like is Mr. Bean's Christmas. Don't know if that's a movie. Maybe it's like a featured TV episode. Just great. I had the DVD once and he did a couple of like episodes and maybe like an extended one. It's just really funny. I find Mr. Bean really funny. I just love slapstick silly humor. And he does stuff like gets his head stuck in the turkey and like he sits down and writes Christmas cards, goes out of his front door, puts them through the letterbox, goes back in his house and he's like, oh wow, look at just really big fan. And Home Alone 2, yeah, the New York one's the best.
Yeah.
God, I could just keep going. Have you guys seen Klaus? I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's on Netflix. It only came out last year, so it's a new one to the arena, animated. Highly recommend. If you haven't seen it, it's really nice. It's about a postman and he's like a rich young man with nothing about him, so his dad sends him to the hardest post office brief ever, and it's this place up in like northern Norway, maybe Sweden. It's fictional obviously, and like he has to get letters generated to be able to go home, and the way he thinks to do that is get kids to ask for presents from this old man who makes toys. See the theme? And yeah, Santa Claus basically evolves from that. But yeah, it's really, really good, really well made and like entertaining. That was the first one I watched this year actually.
Oh, I'm gonna watch that.
Check that out. Netflix original. Great. Okay, well that brings us to an exciting segment which we've done once before, but we're bringing it back. Feeds to follow. So this is an opportunity for us to shout out a page that we really like on any platform whatsoever, and just share it with our lovely Giraffe Social Media podcast community. I'm happy to go first. So one I really like, it's actually a brand, which isn't something I think I'd probably recommend usually, but it's called Wild Fin Clothing. And really, really lovely content. Big Instagram, I think mostly on Instagram. The woman who runs it is on, but yeah, so at Wild Fin Clothing, and the clothes are really nice. It's all really sustainable. The patterns are really nice and minimalist, but also she posts loads and loads of amazing ocean content. So killer whales, and I think she does like fake fact, real fact. We have to decide, like, figure out whether or not a fact about octopuses is real or not. And it's just really lovely content, really lovely products, and it's just a nice thing to inject into your feed. Like, I think brands can be really nice providers of content sometimes. I mean, if you consider about there's people like us behind the scenes who are just trying to make great stuff. So yeah, I know the woman who runs it, Simone, she does it all herself. So yeah, it's a really nice feed. That's my feed to follow. How about you, Nicole?
I've gone for, now, I love a good house plant, but I'm actually not that educated in plants, but I still love them and just love looking at them. I think they're gorgeous, right? So I have, it's called, it's just at house_plant_community, literally just house plant community. And they just post these gorgeous pictures of these amazing plants and like these bedrooms or living rooms that are just overgrown with so many plants and different things. And I think it's just so nice to look at, and if you want something nice in your feed to just bring a smile to your face, I'd go with them. If you like plants, of course. If you don't, maybe avoid them.
How about you, Laura?
I have not long actually started following this account, but it's called Just a Little Bit of Positivity. And it is basically a page with so many quotes, but I'm a quote queen. I love it. I live for them. And there's something about just reading a quote and being able to relate to it, being grounded by it, that I just love. And I think that sort of popping up on your Instagram feed, it's just a really, really great touch. And the graphics are really creative. I take a bit of inspo from them, like the colours, it's just really cohesive. Love it.
Nice recommendation. Thanks, guys. Well, that is all we've got time for today. Thank you so much to everyone for listening, and sorry again that you've had to wait so long for this episode, but we are now back in the full swing of things. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode, which is going to be a group chat about all things on social. You can, of course, also connect with us on all major social channels and let us know what you thought about today's episode. What is your favourite Christmas ad of all time? We would love to know. We've been Giraffe Social Media. You've been amazing. We'll see you next time.